Hi, welcome to this video. If you're here, that means that you are a beginner backpacker and you are overwhelmed with all the things and you're looking for some advice on how to get started with backpacking. I'm here to tell you 10 tips that I wish that I knew as a beginner backpacker, and I've made a lot of mistakes over the last few years learning the process of how to get on trail, navigate, how to protect my feet, how to save my energy, how to keep clean, what kind of clothes to wear. It is a lot, but I'm just going to give you 10 for today, and stay tuned to the very last one because it's the very most important one that you'll hear out of all 10 tips. Tip number 1, just keep it simple. You don't need to do a 5-day trip, a 10-day trip. You just want to start with 1 or 2 nights on easy terrain, small miles, small kilometers, and you just want to build up that confidence, know your ability, know the process of whether you have to reserve camping sites and how to look on a map so you know how many kilometers it is per campsite. You want to look at if there's elevations, you want to look at the terrain, if it's rocky. There's a lot to go into planning an actual hike. So start really, really small. Don't go too elaborate with where you want to go. Stay within your community, close to home, so you can always just turn around, go back to your car. My very first trip was to the Grand Canyon. It was a 4-night, 5-day trip. I flew into Arizona and went up to Flagstaff, and there was a guide there that gave me all of my gear, my tent, my sleeping bag, my sleeping pad. He gave us the food that we were to carry. He gave us the backpack. He showed us how to use the backpack properly and how to tighten up all the straps. It was probably one of the best investments that I ever made to start my backpacking journey. Without that trip, I don't know if I would have gotten the bug to backpack and keep going with all of the trips that I've done since then. But if you don't have a couple $1,000s to spend to go on a trip like that, you can just start small, go to your local provincial park and reserve your sites and just go. So now that you have a destination where you're gonna go, you need to come up with all your gear, and you can go down the rabbit hole of gear. There is so much on the market. You can buy brand new expensive stuff. You can buy the top of the line, the lightest of the light. But I recommend for your first few times, find a friend that has gear. I bet you they have multiples and would be happy to lend you something old that they don't use anymore but they haven't gotten rid of. You can go to an outdoor store, maybe they can rent gear out to you. You can go to the Facebook marketplace and buy secondhand gear. I would suggest not buying the best of the best right off the bat because you don't even know if you actually like backpacking. It's a lot of work sometimes. So start off small. I would also suggest try not to go with the biggest sleeping bag or the biggest tent. You want to get the size that you need. Don't go overboard because you have to carry it all on your pack. Which leads me to tip number 3 is too much stuff. If you are carrying too much stuff on your back, you're not going to have a good trip. You're going to be struggling your whole entire hike and you're going to hate every little bit of it, thinking, why didn't I just not do car camping? If you keep things light and manageable, around 20-25 pounds, you'll make your trip a lot more enjoyable. Don't pack too much stuff, especially clothes, which leads me to my tip number 4. Clothes. You only need 1 set of hiking clothes. Just wear the same clothes for the entirety of your trip. I know you might not like getting dirty. You're gonna get dirty anyways, trust me. It's just you gotta embrace the dirt when you're out there camping and hiking and whatnot. But I will show you a tip to help keep you clean as possible while you're out in the backcountry. But when you are hiking, you don't want to carry too many clothes. That stuff is heavy, it's bulky, takes up too much room. You just want to have enough clothes to keep you warm and dry. And if you're gonna pack extra of anything, it's extra pairs of socks. Pack 3. I always like to pack if it's cold out at night, I like to pack a pair of nice clean sleep socks and then 2 pairs of socks that I rotate throughout the day. And we'll talk more about footwear in the next couple of tips. Food, just go light, no canned anything. Don't go all elaborate. You're not going to starve if you're just going to go out for 1 or 2 nights. You don't even need to bring a cook pot. You can just do tortillas, or you can do cold soaking, like cold oatmeal. It's not going to kill you. Just keep with the basic small amount of food so you're not carrying a load to start with. You can get more creative as you get more experience being on trail, but for now, just keep it simple. That's our theme. Keep it simple. What I actually like to do for saving space in my backpack and for food is I'll take the dehydrated meals and I'll use my unused dehydrated meal. I'll eat it and then I'll keep the bag, and then the second night I'll take the Ziploc dehydrated meal, put it in my used bag because of the insulation, so I don't cook in my pot to make it all dirty, and then I just eat out of that. So it takes up less space, less garbage, and it just makes life a little bit easier when you're out in the backcountry, is just to use one dehydrated meal bag and just keep reusing it over and over again, and rather than cooking in an actual pot, because then you have to clean the pot and it's just one more thing you got to worry about. So that's a really good tip for food. Speaking of food, we got to talk about water. Hydration. So everybody knows we need to drink water. Then you need to think, okay, how do I filter the water? Do I carry all the water? No, you don't want to carry all the water. It is heavy. You want to get some sort of filtration. I use a Be-Free water filter. It's quick, it's easy, it's small, it can compact really easily in my bag. And then I also use electrolytes. That's what you want to rehydrate with. When you are out, you're working hard, you're sweating, you're losing potassium, sodium, magnesium. You want to replenish those electrolytes. So I just bring those little electrolyte packets, put them in my water, and it tastes so much better than just regular water anyways. It just gives you a nice little boost as you're hiking. So don't forget to bring electrolytes with you on any sort of hike, whether you're backcountry camping or you're just doing a day hike. Electrolytes. So as promised, I wanted to talk to you about how to keep clean on the trail. So what I use, I don't use any soap. You don't want anything scented just because we're in bear country, so I don't bring that stuff. It's one more thing to carry. You're gonna smell a little bit. But I use one of those exfoliating scrubby gloves that you can buy at the dollar store, and I use that in the lake and scrub off all the dirt and sweat and grime off of my body. If I'm, say, hiking in the desert, like on the Pacific Crest Trail, I'll just pour a little bit of water onto the glove and then scrub myself off that way, and it just makes me feel a little bit more human and clean as I'm hiking in the backcountry. So get one of those little scrubbies. They don't weigh much, they don't take any space, and it'll help you feel a little bit more like a clean person. Can't have a tip video without talking about footwear. So what do you wear? Shoes, boots. You can go down the rabbit hole with that one as well. Depends on the terrain that you're hiking on. If you're hiking on just a regular flat kind of trail with some ups and downs and hills, then I would say trail runners is the way to go. I like trail runners because they're light, they don't hurt my feet, and they're breathable. My feet don't sweat as much. But if I'm going to be hiking up the mountains when it's rocky and shaly and it's loose rock, and I want something a little bit more sturdier for my ankles, and so I wear boots. At the end of the day, my feet are killing me with the boots, but they offer a lot more support than trail runners, so I wear boots. So I have both. You're gonna have to play around, unfortunately, with what kind of footwear you want to wear, which means you're gonna have to spend a little bit of money on that. You could take all sorts of advice from all the different types of YouTubers of what they wear, but the best thing is for you to go into a shoe store that specializes in hiking, talk to them about your needs, and they will suit you up. And make sure that they size you a half a size or a full size bigger than your actual foot size, because your feet are going to swell a little bit as you're hiking, and you don't want any toenails to fall off or blisters. So make sure that you get, if you're size 9, get a 9.5 or a 10. Footwear is very important. I want to talk to you about blisters, but that is going to go on to my next tip, which is Leukotape. Leukotape is a medically grade tape that I put in my first aid kit. Leukotape is so strong, and it's like an extra layer of skin. So now whenever I'm hiking and I feel a hot spot coming on, and a hot spot is when, you're starting to feel some sort of rubbing happening in your foot, I stop immediately. I take off my shoes and socks, let everything dry out, and then I'll put 3 or 4 layers of Leukotape on my hot spot, and that will protect the skin from rubbing and creating a blister. Now, if you already have a blister forming, don't put that Leukotape on there without some sort of gauze, just like a bandage. Otherwise, it's gonna just rip your skin apart. But Leukotape is great because it stays on for a while, couple of days. You can sweat, you can get your feet dirty, it's not coming off. So Leukotape is a must in your first aid kit. I've also used it to repair my gear, my backpack, my tent poles. Leukotape is like 4 ounces and it's $8 off of Amazon. Get yourself some Leukotape, put it in your first aid kit. Next tip is to stretch. You need to stop and stretch throughout your day, especially at the beginning and at the end of your day. Your body will thank you the next day, so you can keep moving. Major muscles that I like to stretch are my gastrocs, or my calves, my quads, my hamstrings, my low back, my hips, my neck and shoulders from carrying the backpack. I just like to do a nice little twist, quad stretch, especially going up and down the hills, and gastrocs, or the calves. You want to stretch as much as possible. And in continuing with the conversation about stretching, if you're doing a multi-day trip, I would start your morning off very slow. You want to warm up a little bit. So I walk around my tent, I start to pack everything up, and then when I start walking, I go slow. You want to just get that blood flowing, you want to get the joints lubricated, and once you start feeling good, then you can start picking up the speed a little bit and going a little faster on the trail. It just helps to avoid injuries. It helps from you being stiff the next day. It helps from cramping. Make sure you take the time to stretch in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night. Last but not least, my tip number 10, the one you have been waiting for, is just do it. You can research and research and research, but the best way to learn about backpacking is trial and error. Just put on a backpack, put on the gear that you need, make sure you tell someone where you're going, you have some sort of navigation device, and you just go. You just have to step out of your comfort zone. I know it can be scary. Oh, I know it can be scary. But you just have to go. And I promise you, you will love it. Well, maybe you won't love it, but there is a whole community of backpackers out there. You'll meet all sorts of great friends. And there's just some sort of magic that happens when everybody gets together at the end of a long day of hiking. And we talk about all sorts of things, from gear to the trail to life stories. I don't know. It's my love. I love it. And I hope to share this passion with you. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, please leave a comment below. Like and subscribe. I'm trying to get better at making these videos, and I would love to hear some feedback from you. Till the next one, thanks for watching, and let me know if you've been on your first backpacking trip yet, or if you're still trying to do the research and figure out what it is that you need to do before you get out there. Thanks for watching. Bye.